So they're being, yeah, I have quite a few questions about it, but I don't know, how much you can divulge. But I'm curious. You're saying there's images being uploaded or images being downloaded?
That.
I have in the past, and I've recently upgraded my phone. So, as far as that goes, I don't want
to. All right. What's the PIN number for it?
Am I required to give that to you?
You're not.
Okay, I'd rather not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. It's Friday, June 3rd. Welcome back to my channel. It's going to be a busy afternoon, a busy day, busy life. I just finished a video on Anna Duggar. I have another video I need to edit, but I don't even have time to get to it because there's already developments in the Josh Duggar case. This is the story that never ends, literally. It's like the song that never ends. You know that song? It's like the story that never ends, the case that never ends. I know this is a standard part of the process, but Josh had 14 days to file this notice, and Josh has made his decision well known to the court, and he is going to appeal. That's right. He has filed a notice to appeal. I haven't even gotten over the fact that we are sentenced, and he's already appealing. Haha, I can't even get my bearings. I literally just got the transcripts from last week. Literally read through everything. Listened to them talk about he was going to appeal. Listened to the judge tell them that he understood that he would be appealing. But to actually see that this is happening in court, I was like flabbergasted. So today, a notice was filed by Josh's attorney in Western District, Arkansas, which says the following. Notice is hereby given that Joshua James Duggar, in the above captioned case, appeals to the United States Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit from this court's judgment in his case, which was entered on May 27th, 2022, reflecting his convictions on count 1, and then count 2 was dismissed. He provides notice of an intent to evaluate and pursue any and all meritorious arguments in his appeal to the United States Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit. This notice is timely as it's being filed within 14 days after the entry of the judgment after being appealed and of the conviction. And procedure, the notice is being filed by his attorneys, Gelfand, Murphy, and Story, who are admitted to practice before the United States Court of Appeals in the 8th Circuit on Duggar's behalf in pursuant to his request. They intend to represent Duggar on appeal. So the dust hasn't even settled. He hasn't even been transferred, and they have filed their motions. So I went to the website of the rules at Cornell Law School to find out, and through the federal government to kind of find out, what are the standards here? What does this mean? Basically, this is the first step. So within 14 days of the conviction, he has to file a notice. The notice isn't the arguments. It's just that he's telling the court, hey, I'm going to appeal this decision. And then he has, after he files the notice, he's got 60 days after that to file 40 copies of his statement and pay a docket fee. So it's kind of like right now he's just telling them we have an intent to do this, and then he has a couple months where he has to then file this in the court and pay the docket fee. Then after it's placed on the docket, then he has to do they have to file more stuff. So it's basically step 1. He hasn't put together any documents. So basically this is the first step of a long process. And he will be going through the lengthy process of the appeals. And appeals in cases like this are very, very, very hard to overrule, or to for the circuit to actually rule and overturn a conviction. he would have to have some really good arguments. And I'm sure one of those is going to be about not being allowed to call Caleb Williams. I feel like I can already tell that their direction is going to be that they didn't do their due diligence. There was this Brady's violation, and they didn't get the emails, and they didn't have the information, and they're going to appeal it because they said that Caleb couldn't be called, but Caleb could be called. You know, there's been a lot of experts that's been weighing in about the situation, and most say that cases like this, especially with this amount of evidence, are really hard to overturn. But in the event that they are overturned, they will actually have a second charge that they can go and recharge him with. So it's, I don't know, like we don't even really know what's happening with him. And, you know, you think about this in this way. He is so adamant that he can get out of this. He so believes that he is going to be able to get out of this, right? He's going to spend more time on appeals. He's going to try to get out of this, which is probably going to go nowhere. And it's all just this like act for him to be proclaimed like he was the one that was set up. And I know this is the process, and I know almost all people that go through the process will appeal. But I also know that these types of cases are hard to overrule and hard for appeals to overrule. The thing is once an appeal has been rejected, it's typically final. I mean, he could request that it goes to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court is probably not going to take a case like this. They don't generally play favorites with people like Josh. But they were already setting up everything last week for this appeal. One of the reasons why Josh didn't speak in court is because he maintained his innocence. Throughout the entire hearing, he refused to accept responsibility. He refused to acknowledge. I mean, in court last week, they were arguing with the judge about the people in what was written in the PSR report. There was a part in the PSR report about the kids that were in these videos, okay? And the PO described the children and the hurt that was caused to them. And Josh was like, we acknowledge that these children were hurt, but we didn't hurt them. We had nothing to do with that. That wasn't us. It wasn't me. Josh was the only one at the car lot those 3 days. Josh was the only one that had access to that computer. Josh was the only one that accessed that partition. Nobody else. Josh is the only one that had the means to go around Covenant Eyes. They already proved that you couldn't get into this through the remote access. It's not like this stuff was found on his thumb drives. And it wasn't like, I mean, they literally showed how the computer works. You can't boot up the partition without being there. And in court, even if you could boot it up remotely, they said it would still be on the computer. So he would be sitting there watching it and someone else did it. It makes no sense that someone would do this. And it's not even physically possible. But they have to keep playing this game because they have a reputation to maintain. He's got people that he needs to convince that he's somehow the victim in all of this, that he's the one that didn't do anything. When all the evidence points to the fact that he had these things on his computer. He told the officers that when he told the agents when they got to his property that they would find the Tor browser on his work computer. Do you know where they found the Tor browser? On the partition. The Tor browser was not on the work side. So he told them, you'll find it on all of my devices.
Okay. Have you ever used or do any of these electronics currently on the property have any of those types of software downloaded onto them?
Yes.
Okay. Which devices are we talking about?
Probably all of them.
All, so, and I just want to make sure, again, we're not here to put words in your mouth. So when you say all, and I'm thinking...
Well, okay, I won't want to say all because I'm going to say the laptop, the phone, and the computer in the office.
Okay, so laptop in the RV.
Yes.
Okay. The phone, your
I
phone...
believe, to the best of my knowledge.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Again...
I don't know if they actually all have them or
we're not here to pin you in a corner
right.
on any of your answers.
Right.
Why wasn't it on the non-partitioned side then? He wanted to pretend like he didn't partition this, but yet the Tor browser is on there, and you told him that the Tor browser was on there, and then 4 times when you were being interviewed by them, you asked if it was uploading or downloading.
Like a Tor browser or a Tor we upload stuff for our cars and things like that. I've had a friend of mine that came and set up with file sharing so we could do, more encrypted type stuff. He just said it's safer that way. He got me onto it to be safer.
I want to make sure, again, that we're clear. When you say Tor, my definition, there's kind of
I actually don't know the definition.
The arrogance from this man never ceases to amaze me. So Gelfand and Travis Story, I mean, they're just doing their job. But Josh is just ridiculous. Now, I'll also note he's already paid his fine. He's already paid the fine. So a filing in the court stated that he's already paid the $50,000 fine. Think about this. This is a man that has spent tons of money on everything, on this entire defense, and he still had 50 grand to throw to pay off that fine like it was nothing. Do you think he really had that money, or do you think Jim Bob paid that fine? Who do you think actually paid the fine? I mean, I'm sure it had to come from his account, but really, who paid that fine? Do you think after not working for 18 months or this entire time that he has money at this point in time? What was he doing where he has this kind of liquid assets? He wasn't on reality television for 7 years and he was selling used cars, and you're going to tell me that he has 50 grand just to throw to pay a fine? It's unimaginable to me. And, it's ironic because the judge at his hearing says this: you do have the right to appeal, and that obviously includes the conviction by the jury and the judgment to follow in your case. Some important things you need to know about your right to appeal would include the fact that there's a short time limit for doing so. You only have 14 days from the day of the court filings its judgment to get the notice of appeal filed with the clerk. Ordinarily, there's a filing fee that goes along with that, but for some reason you can demonstrate that you cannot afford to pay the filing fee, then the court would waive it. Finally, and importantly, you do have the right to be represented by counsel on appeal, and to the extent that you cannot afford retain counsel privately for that purposes, the court will appoint that. So Josh can afford attorneys even for his appeal. This is a man that, again, has been incarcerated for 5 months. Who's paying for this? Where's all this liquid money coming from? And they also forfeited his computer. They fought the forfeiture of the computer for the appeals, too. He said, I think we have one more matter, and that's the forfeiture of the HP computer. For the record, the court has kind of been emailing back and forth with the attorneys on this. Mr. Gelfand, my understanding would be that you have no objection in principle to the concept of this forfeiture, but you want to make darn sure that the computer remains and is considered evidence, and nothing will change about its character or conditions throughout any period of appeal and until any judgment may be found to be final in the sense of a mandate issued by the highest court of appeal. And he said, precisely, Your Honor, nobody wants that computer back, so to speak, just preserved. So the court is going to enter the form of the order that the government prepared, except we're going to add a sentence that says that you can't do anything else with it without further order of the court. So even last week, they seem like they're preparing for a new trial. Like they have this arrogant belief they're going to overturn this conviction. It never ends with Josh. It literally never ends. I have a feeling that even while he's in jail for 12 and a half years, we're going to still hear about him. Who else thinks that? Who else thinks there's nobody that's been more of the person that's been hurt than Josh? Because Josh certainly thinks that he's the one that's been hurt, not the kids. There's no links to the evil of this man, and that's just my opinion. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Bye, guys.